had to do assignments related to media in school, right? Typically a book report, or watching some movie for the purpose of understanding the process in filming if you were in theater like me. I'm sure that saying I'm a former theater kid probably just made a bunch of people say, "Oh, that's why she's like that." But for book reports, I'm sure you've heard some variation of the phrase, "You can only do real books, no manga or anything like that." And they'd pronounce it manga, like Dorkly pronounces it. Yeah, forget doing a project on something you like and are familiar with. Forget making the painful experience of school more entertaining for kids when they're probably suffering from the CVS receipt of other shit school gives them. Instead of doing a project on something you like to make the experience more enjoyable and actually getting kids and teens into reading, you instead say it's not a real book because reasons. And of course, this anti-anime sentiment bleeds into art schools, even though anime is one of the main things that gets young people into doing art in the first place. The video we're covering is a defense of this sentiment. The video is titled, "Why Anime is Banned in Art Schools and Why That Makes Sense." Let's get into it.
Hey, how's it going, everyone?
Wait, you have a Konata plush? I mean, that's one of the few base things in this video, but didn't Lucky Star have a segment complaining about this exact problem?
This report on TV about how many books the average Japanese person reads in a year. Anyway, they said manga wasn't good enough and that only normal books counted. Is it manga? I wonder if light novels would count. Huh? I don't know. I guess it's okay if you counted light novels. What about picture books? They're called books, so I guess they count? If you said Harry Potter and books like that are ordinary, everyone who's into the fantasy genre would agree, right? So is there such a thing as an ordinary book? Besides, they ended the whole report by saying something about how the younger generation is starting to turn away from printed media and stuff. The thing is, we use the net to look at all kinds of websites and blogs, so I think we actually read more stuff these days than ever before. Yeah, I kinda get what you're saying and kinda not.
Hands up if you're watching this video right now and have ever attempted to draw anime art in your spare time. Okay. Keep your hands up if you have ever or are attending art school or have ever shown your art teacher in school your anime art. I'm sure there are a lot of you who are keeping your hands up, and it's really not all that surprising, especially if you're a fan of anime, which you should be if you're watching this video, because otherwise, why are you here? I'll admit I also had that stage in my life where I watched a particular anime series or a few anime series and thought to myself, oh hell yeah, I can draw anime art, yo, I got this shit. And then gave up almost immediately because I realized very quickly that I have the hand-eye coordination of a snake.
Wow, it's almost as if anime art as a skill takes a lot of practice and that a teacher might want to help with that. Also, I know snakes don't have hand-eye coordination because they're snakes, but they have good mouth-eye coordination, or whatever you call it. What I'm saying is that they have good reflexes.
So I'm coming into this particular discussion piece not from the point of view of any kind of anime artist or artist at all, but rather a more self-proclaimed anime and otaku culture nerd.
Do artists not also fall into that category?
I've been seeing that there has been some rumors spreading about in the last couple of years in the anime and otaku community of people who attend art schools or have shown their anime art in art schools or to their art teachers in just regular schools, and a lot of them ending in their art teachers actually discouraging them from drawing anime art. There are even some stories claiming of art students who are writing up their portfolios and projects for after graduation, whose art teachers have completely banned anime art from those kinds of projects. And as a sucker for any kind of anime fan art, my first response to this whole thing was, oh fuck no. How fucking dare you ban anime art from any kind of art school? You racist
I wouldn't call it racist, it's more so just another case of uptight, pompous schools crushing their students' dreams like usual.
Anime is a totally legitimate form of art, and artists should have the freedom to draw whatever the fuck they want. Hashtag free the waifus. But then I stopped to think about it for a hot minute as to why there might be this potential banning of anime art from art classes.
Because normie old people see anything fun as children's stuff and therefore look down on it.
And now that I thought about it, I'm concluding that this whole banning of anime art kinda makes sense. And as much as I and many others don't want to admit it, I can't really blame art teachers in the West for shunning anime art from classes and school.
Yes, guys, only draw Western DEI approved things. None of that dragging my bullshit in my classroom.
So let's explore why that might be the case. Now, I don't think you need to be any kind of a Picasso to understand this, but fundamentally, anime art is anatomically whack as fuck.
Are we really gonna start getting into the "where are her bones" arguments now? Is that where we're at now? It's almost as if animation of all kinds is an exaggeration of reality and therefore not bound to the anatomy of real humans.
Take any example of any kind of basic anime art and you can see why. I mean, we've got your obvious points like the large eyes, the large head, hairstyles that seem to defy the teachings of Newton in any possible way.
Anything is possible with enough hair and gel. Also, again, this is just a "where are her bones" argument, but for hair.
And while this may be a good reason for the banning of anime art, you have to take into consideration that a lot of Western artists that are known more as the professional artists and art styles that you should look up to, like Picasso's Cubist art style for example, is also not really sucking the dick of anatomical faithfulness anytime soon.
So you acknowledge that this point is stupid, but you still stand by it.
So, why is stuff like Picasso's Cubism okay, but anime art is not? Well, I think the biggest problem is that unlike Picasso, anime art in the West especially is very much still a niche.
It's really not. The fact that there are anime made for export is proof of that enough.
You can show any art teacher a Salvador Dali painting and they'll probably be able to tell you Dali's life story leading up to that particular.
I know it's artistic nudity and therefore not porn, but I'm gonna censor that anyways, just in case.
But if you gave them an art piece of Sayori during Nekopara, then they'll probably just question your sexual fetishes before asking who made it.
I mean, if they're assuming this picture is sexual in any way, maybe it's time for you to drop out.
One thing you do have to understand is that artists like Picasso are known for multiple art styles, not just Cubism. And that artists like Dali have a lot of meaning behind their paintings and a lot of anatomical structure behind their painting.
When people draw their favorite characters, regardless of the situation, isn't it fair to say they like that character, stories that character holds, and them as a person? Could that not be interpreted the same way?
Whereas your fan art of me, for example, doesn't exactly have any kind of meaning behind it.
Remember kids, if you make fan art of the anime man, he thinks it's meaningless. In fact, this entire video feels like you're subtly and indirectly insulting the people who want to draw anime. It's okay for this person to not follow anatomy because it's not anime. It's not okay for you to not follow anatomy because it's anime. See what I mean?
Not that I'm saying your fan art is—
No. Don't backtrack. I know exactly what you were trying to say. Don't try to revoke your statements now.
But then at this point you might be yelling at your screen. But Joey, anime has multiple art styles as well!
Exactly.
And you know what? You're very right. I think one thing that makes anime really interesting and fun to look at is that it does have multiple art styles. You have your basic, like, this is anime kind of art styles like High School DD and Bleach, for example, to your more experimental and not so anime-like styles like Ping Pong and Kaiba. But here's a question for you. How many people who attend art classes or start drawing anime art draw in the style of Ping Pong and Kaiba?
So you're saying it has to not look like anime to be allowed. You have to completely erase any sort of anime influence for anime to be approved. This sort of mindset is what caused DEI to happen.
When people first start to draw anime art, it's usually more of the mainstream, this is anime style, like High School DD and Bleach. Because those kinds of anime are usually the first ones we are exposed to. So to your Western art teacher who doesn't know the first thing about anime having multiple art styles, your generic High School DD Bleach type of art style is the only art style in anime.
Well, it sounds like the art teacher should educate themselves about art and probably shouldn't be an art teacher if they're so uneducated.
And it's not only one style, but it is the one style that is anatomically incorrect, has very little meaning, and very little variation. If you gave your art teacher anime art in the style of Panty and Stocking or the Aku no Hana anime adaptation, then there is a possibility that your art teacher might not even blink an eye at your anime art.
So it has to be westernified or completely devoid of Japanese influence to count? Don't get me wrong, I like Panty and Stocking, but the whole point was that it didn't look like anime.
Look at artists like Murakami Takashi, for example. He's a Japanese artist who successfully blended Japanese anime and ukiyo-e styles and incorporated that with the more sophisticated and structured Western style of paintings and sculptures to create what is ultimately a very Japanese-oriented anime-styled kind of artwork, but got him the Western recognition and got him to have his own museums and art pieces which are known all over the world as a genuine proper artist.
So anime art is only allowed if you either make it not anime or are popular. This entire video just feels like it's telling you to not attend art school. Like, why would I go to a place that's built on nothing but DEI and bandwagon fallacy?
But I think it's not only about variation or meaning or style of anime art. I think it also has to do heavily with what art teachers and art schools are trying to teach you.
Yeah, kids, no thinking outside the box, no getting ideas. You're only allowed to drink the Kool-Aid.
Art teachers and art schools fundamentally are trying to teach you to draw and not to draw a style.
That doesn't make sense?
It's about understanding the basics of what makes a drawing, the rules you need to know to improve your drawing, and understanding the fundamentals of what makes a particular art style work.
How does anime get in the way of that?
And mind you, this isn't just limited to the West. Art teachers and art schools in Japan also follow these sets of rules when teaching you how to draw.
So what you're telling me is the Japanese are being indoctrinated by the West.
I'm sure it goes without saying, but most mangakas that have made it big didn't get good at what they did from drawing their waifus every day.
I find that very hard to believe since a lot of shows are influenced by other things. Very early anime was actually influenced by older American and European cartoons. People are inherently inspired by other things. Also, why just drawing their waifus? No hate to people who do, but why just make that assumption? Who's to say they aren't drawing male characters, or characters they aren't attracted to? Why make a blanket statement about all anime artists?
Artists can draw because they understand the fundamentals of the art of drawing. And I think it's only when you know those rules that you can start to break them. Artists break these conventional rules to create these different styles. From Picasso's Cubism, to Dali's Surrealism, to anime waifuism. That's not a real art genre, but my god, I wish it was. Your art teacher most likely isn't shunning your fan art of Kirito because they don't understand or like anime. It's because drawing these pieces of anime art that is anatomically incorrect with little variation and little meaning before you've even understood the fundamentals of drawing isn't going to improve your art.
Who's to say that you can't use said piece to segue into learning more and enhancing your style?
And I know there are probably some, like, actual anime artists who are saying right now, I got good at drawing anime art, but I never attended art class or art school.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, not everyone can draw their waifu from the moment they exit their mother's womb. Some of us have to sit in an art class and draw perfect circles all day.
We're really out here trying to use a SpongeBob reference as an argument, even though SpongeBob had an entire episode going against the point of this video.
Now, at this point, I will come out and say right now that I do not accept the idea of banning anime art in portfolios after, say, you know, all your art classes are finished or you are about to graduate art school.
Yeah, you have to suck up to the teacher before actually being allowed to have fun.
Of course, when it comes to actual school projects that you have to do while you're at school or during classes, then it does ultimately come down to the curriculum and what the specifics are of that project. But personal portfolios for your artist career should be exempt from any kind of exclusion of style. That means if you're making a portfolio to show potential clients what you can draw, then I think anime art is a completely viable option. You've been through art school, you've ingrained all of the fundamentals of how to get good at drawing into your brain, and you've broken those rules with that understanding in mind.
You say that as if you have to attend art school to be an expert.
Yes, anime may be niche, but there is also a huge market for anime art, especially in the online world. I mean, sure, your anime art isn't gonna end up on the wall of a museum anytime soon, but there are a lot of potential clients online who are waiting to commission your anime art.
Shouldn't that be what it's really about then? Appealing to people who understand the medium instead of a bunch of pompous, normie old people?
And look, fundamentally, there might be some exceptions to this problem. Like maybe your art teacher doesn't like your anime art because they're a racist prick. Or maybe you know an art teacher who is completely okay with you drawing anime art and, if anything, encourages you to draw anime art. And if that is the case, then you should befriend them because they're one dope motherfucker. But I still do think that at the end of the day, anime art is a legitimate form of art, and it should be embraced more, especially in the West. Put your anime art on sites like DeviantArt for people on the internet to praise and critique, or join a manga club at your school if you really want to pursue that kind of style. But while you're at art school or art classes, just keep drawing those perfect circles over and over again.
So we're just supposed to let schools crush dreams and are just expected to drink the Kool-Aid. Anyways, gamers, have a good night.